legacy. Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Male and PRP's in on this legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Get your popcorn, I know you need this medicine. Let's go.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to another great episode of Legacy, where this show is strictly about Male and PRP. Of course, you got your favorite two hosts of the most, Mark and Will. What's up, my brother?
What's going on? Oh, man. You know I love these shows.
We got two special guests, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have today?
Man, we got them Bulldogs on tonight. Hey, first of all, we got Mr. David Johnson and Mr. Kevin Wigginton in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us.
Absolutely.
Big time. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us.
Doing well. Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
And I want everybody to know I had to bring two of them on because PRP, Mark kept on getting PRP. Now, man, we had our run of it. We was rocking and rolling. Then he just kept on. I don't know what happened, and everybody must have been hitting him up. So I reached out to Mr. Wigginton, and he's like, hey, I can get David on here too. So, hey, now we back in the building. The dogs are back in the building.
Now what?
Yes, sir. But like I said, thank you guys for coming on here, man. And basically, we want to, catch up with you guys and also, learn about your journeys from Little League on and things like this and the year. So basically, let's start with you, David. What year, how old was you when you first started playing sports?
Man. I'm the youngest of 5 boys in my family, so everyone was already playing, and I kind of I was probably in the 2nd grade, and I was just playing. It's all my older brothers were playing, and my dad was in the military, so I first started playing in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and then we moved to Germany, so I played a bunch of years in Germany before coming back to Fort Knox again, and so, yeah, I was kind of I'd say 2nd grade was probably where I formally remember being on a formal team, as opposed to just, running around playing, schoolyard games here and there. I think it's probably around the 2nd grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Coach Wig? What's going on, man? How about you?
Hey, you got it, brother. Hey, I started playing sports, Little League sports. I actually started playing basketball after 2nd grade. And anybody that knows me, that's my sport, man, basketball. We'll probably talk about that a little later.
Hey, y'all ever seen a 260-pound point guard? That's what Wig thinks he is. Yeah. But continue on, Wig. Go ahead, man.
I started playing basketball in Little League, so I didn't start playing football until 10, turning 11. Played for the Shining Steelers. And I really wanted to play for the Shining Trojans, but my mom knew Rick Dooley's mom, which is the guy both David and I played with at Male when we were sophomores. But so she had me in the Shining League, man, and I always loved football because that's all my family, all my cousins played football. Shelby County, and Mill High School, Manual, all of them played football.
Coach Wig, we don't say that word on here. I'm sorry.
My fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Hey, we don't, for real. Any other night, and this kind of pick, he knows. I'll be like, hey. But anyway, we're going to let that slip because family. So, okay. I had a family member that kind of went astray and went there, so I understand, though. So,
You know how it is, man.
I know how it is. So let me ask you this, David. So, okay, you say you started early, you know what I'm saying? So, when you was at, we say 2nd grade?
Yeah, probably around there sometime.
Okay, was that football, basketball, or?
I played it all.
Played it all.
Yeah, my
So
brother played it all. I played it all.
So what year or so was you when you decided to focus solely on football? Was it like in high school, or was you doing dual sport all the way through high school?
Yeah, probably around high school. So what happened to me is when I was young, I was kind of a naturally good athlete, and so I played everything. One of the problems was, and this is a good message for kids or parents who have kids that are playing ball. They always made me play out of position because I could jump really high and I was fast. So they made me do things I shouldn't have done. So like when I played basketball as a youngster, they would have me playing forward or center because I could jump. I could jump out of the gym. But so that means I never really learned to dribble.
Right.
So by the time I got to junior high and high school, I was 5'10", 5'11", as I'm going into high school, something like that. And I could jump out of the gym. I could, do everything you want. I could rebound all day. I can do all that kind of stuff. I couldn't dribble the ball. I couldn't dribble the ball good enough to be, now, like I said, now I'm, 6 feet or under. And I don't know how to dribble. So athletically, I can hold my own on the basketball court with anybody. Mm-hmm. But if you give me the ball and tell me to dribble up and down the court, I can't do it. So what I'm saying about, if you're a parent of a kid, make sure your kid is playing what he's going to play in the future. Like I said, I had no business playing forward and center. It's just that, they had me playing athletically. So I think as I got more towards high school, it really started to focus on like, okay, if I have a realistic shot of playing pro ball, I'm going to have to play football. As much as I love basketball, and as good as I am playing at the park or playing in the courts, I can, like I said, me and a bunch of dudes go play all the time. I can go out there and dunk on anybody. I can go out there and grab 10 rebounds. I can do all that kind of stuff. But I can't realistically do that against an actual forward who's 6'8",
right,
who's 6'6", who's 5'. So I started thinking, okay, size-wise and athletic-wise, football is going to be my game.
Yes.
Yeah, football is going to be my game. So that's when I started really focusing, probably around my freshman and sophomore year.
Okay. So, Coach Wiggs, since my whole thing is since you was trying to do the point guard and stuff. So when you decide to put the basketball down and concentrate on football?
Yeah, see, man, Dave just explained to you why I had to play point guard. You didn't dribble. Tells you everything. We had another part that was a natural point guard, but you know,
good one.
Yes.
We actually met, man, because of basketball.
Okay.
In the neighborhood where we lived at the time. I went to Male not because of football, I went because of basketball. I played basketball at Highland Middle School, and some other guys played during that time. This was 1980, U.S. Championship. So when I went to interview with Male, they instantly was like, "Oh, you play basketball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I play basketball." So that was my focus, even though I knew I played football. And I'm kind of like Dave, man. Probably my sophomore year, I realized that if I'm gonna do something, go to college or even try to play pro, it's gonna be football. It's not gonna be basketball because I'm 6'3". Mm-hmm. And I'm not a point. I'm really not a point guard. I'm not a point guard, so it's kind of same thing with Dave. I'm not gonna rebound against bigger guys. I train on football, and plus I'm, a big guy. So, my sophomore year was like, hey, basketball is great, but football is where it's at. So I focused on football.
Okay. So as we talking about you guys in Male, okay, explain that whole, what I'm saying? Because the thing about it is, like in the '80s is when I really paid attention. You know what I'm saying? With you guys, I was like young and stuff, but going to the games with siblings and stuff like cousins and seeing all these big athletes and this running, doing whatever, man. Explain y'all time at Male, man. Let's start with y'all. Did y'all let's start with freshman year, freshman football, right? I know y'all was at this varsity JV.
You froze for just a second. What did you say about when we got to Male?
I said, explain to us about football as far as Male. Like, let's talk about the freshman year.
So Dave came to me our sophomore year. So our freshman year, man, and I've been watching Male. I started going to Male games in the 8th grade, and a lot of folks don't know this, but in the 7th grade, Male, I think it was Male's first or second year being a traditional school, 78, 79, they were considered not even having football.
Wow.
Because they had young guys, and they didn't have a lot of talent. They had some younger guys, and so they wanted to look at doing something different, or at least maybe for 2 years, let's do football. So my freshman year, we won 2 games. We beat Stewart, which was no longer a high school, and we beat Shawnee. We didn't lose real bad to other teams, but that was the only 2 games we won. And so that was the lean years, man. We got to win the lean years. Coming to our sophomore year was when things started to change.
Okay.
We got a new head coach. The guys who were freshmen when they were getting ready to say Male shouldn't have football were seniors.
Okay.
Really good ball. There's some really good ball players on that team, and so it gave us, us room to grow, man. And we got to play on that team, but it gave us room to grow.
Who was the coach? Who was the coach then? Because I want to assume.
Garnet Phelps was the coach my freshman year.
Okay.
He's the one that really, when Mel said, let's go do football, he said, nah, I got this. I'm gonna take these kids to, I'm gonna put them on my shoulders. We're gonna do this. So we got a coaching staff together. And actually, man, I really think our sophomore year when Coach Euler started coaching, if Coach Phelps would have been our coach, we would have been just as good, or probably even better, because he knew what he already had. But then he was getting ready to give him tools, man. I mean, we had some freshmen and sophomores that came in our sophomore year, ready to play, man.
Yeah. So Dave, you come as sophomore. So how was that? I know you said PRP or whatever. So sophomore year you come to Male.
Yeah. So my freshman year, my dad just retired from the military, and we went to Stewart High School first. My freshman year, we went to Stewart, and then we were there for like a month or two, and we got ran out of Valley Station. We got ran out of Valley Station on a rail. I mean, we didn't know we had moved into. Next, there was crosses burning. Whoa! So we moved out of there. So we ended up going to Seneca for a couple of months, and then PRP. So I met Wig and those guys. And Wig was like, "Hey man, you need to come to Male." So, because Wig and I, we used to battle. we both had little tempers. We used to clash, and me and Wig used to go at it. And so, Wig was like, "Man, you need to come to Male if you can get into Male." So I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'm looking for a place to play. He said, we got some good athletes here. We're going to have a good team." It's like, cool. So, I was able to get into Male. And, so my sophomore year, I went there. We had a good team. We were solid. And it's just when Male was transitioning to being good.
Okay.
Before that, it's kind of like, you're going to play football at Male? So we're transitioning to being good. And so my sophomore year, I had to play JV and varsity, and boy, that made me mad as hell. I felt sorry for those JV kids. I was beating them ragged. I felt sorry for them. Wow. Like you're gonna make me play JV too? Oh, okay. All right. Y'all gonna kick me out of that league because I'm about to make a part. Wow.
He was starting varsity now. Imagine he was starting varsity.
Oh yeah.
So I'm starting varsity, and playing JV as well. And another story about that. We're talking about, we played in a time, and a lot of people may not remember this very well because we live in a different era now. But we played, black quarterbacks were rare. I mean, completely rare. Like, I don't care how good you were, the white guy had to be the quarterback. It was kind of like it was the law of the land. So my brother Steve also came to Male, and he was a phenomenal athlete. Great quarterback. He played quarterback all his life growing up, all the little leagues, junior high school, everything. And now he comes to Male, and now they're telling him, oh, no, you're going to play wide receiver or running back. He's like, I've been a quarterback all my life. And they literally would not let him try out to play quarterback. They would not let him, let's let the best man win.
Yeah.
So my brother ended up quitting because it was just so demoralizing for a position you played all your life, and now it's not that you get beat out for the position, they won't even let you try out for the position. So my brother quit, and he regrets that now because he would have been a phenomenal NFL player. But when you're I guess you'd been a junior at the time. When you're a junior in high school and you've been playing football all your life at one position, and someone tells you, oh no, you can't play that, you're a teenager. You're like, I'm done.
Right.
He could have played receiver, could have played defensive back, could have played running back, but that wasn't the point. He had played quarterback all his life. So we had a good team, and when I started getting aspirations of, maybe I can play at the next level, is Wig will remember this game. We played against Manual our sophomore year. They had a first-team All-American wide receiver, a guy named Preston Gray, and so so I'm a sophomore. This guy is a first-team All-American receiver, and they're like, okay, you got to cover this dude. Man, what's up with that? So they had me out there covering him, and that's when, after that game, I was like, did I just shut him down?
All the way down, baby.
Woo!
And then I got a little write up in the paper and stuff, and then that's when the coach came up to me and was like, you can play this game on Sundays. You keep your head straight. You can play this game on Sundays. And so that's kind of when I first got the inkling of, maybe this is going to work out.
Wow. So look, check this out, guys. Going into your junior year, okay? You got the sophomore start and all this kind of stuff. So how was your junior year?
Junior year was a little different, dude. I mean, it wasn't even us. I just think there was just a number of things that happened, to me, to David, to whether it was injuries or whether it was received attitudes or whatever. Sophomore year was just different, man. It wasn't fun my sophomore year. I would say that. At least not for me. I mean, we still had a good team. It just wasn't. It just wasn't like our junior year, man. The expectations. I think we all had great expectations going into our junior year. It just didn't pan out that way, man.
What was your record? What was your record?
We were 4-6. So we went from 6-4 to 4-6.
Okay.
But I think it was just some other things, man. I mean, but we had good players. The senior leadership was okay, but it wasn't like our sophomore year. Those guys who were senior our sophomore year was leaders, man. I mean, those dudes, they walk and talk.
I honestly don't remember our junior year. I don't remember one thing about our junior year. I can't remember who we played.
Wow.
I can't remember losses, and that's rare for me. Usually I kind of remember every single game, every play of every game. I can't. It's funny because when you said that just now about your junior year, I was like, I started running through my head like, did I play there our junior year? I honestly do not remember our junior year. I remember Avis was a senior at the time, right? He had been a senior when we were junior.
Right.
Yeah. So we had some good players. We had some ballers. We had some ballers out of this world, but we didn't win very much, and I don't remember junior year at all.
Wow. So since you guys want to erase that, let's go senior year.
Let me say this though.
Okay.
My junior year, we played PRP at Male.
Yeah.
I scored a touchdown on a fumble. I picked up a fumble, scored a touchdown at referee blew inadvertent whistle. Man,
I scored a touchdown in that game too.
Remember that? Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was a long 60 yards. So they took the ball. They gave us the ball first down and 10, first to go like the 2-yard line. Man, we fumbled the ball. Then PRP wound up getting the ball on the goal line. Then I recovered the fumble on the goal line from PRP. And we finally scored. We beat PRP. But I mean, really, that's like a highlight.
That's the highlight. That's the highlight.
Could have kept that story to yourself.
I got junior year, excuse me.
Oh, okay. All right, we're glad you got that out of your system. Senior, guys. How was senior year? And actually, do us a favor, man. Tell us about some of the other players y'all with, man, because like I said, y'all played with some good players, so.
Hey, man. Billy Thompson was a great ball player. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I'll say, one of the best athletes in Louisville was on our squad, Chris Phelps.
Sir.
Starting point guard for the basketball team as well. And Chris was a bad boy. Chris was a bad boy. And once again, he's another guy that should have been the starting quarterback as well. But Chris was fast, quick, good hands, tough. We both played receiver and we both played defensive back. So we were we were running mates. And I would have put us as a tandem, offensively and defensively. I would have put us up against anyone in the state easily.
Wow.
Chris was phenomenal. Chris was just absolutely phenomenal. And it was one of those things we're kind of, I'm daring you to throw the ball on my side, and if you don't want to throw it on my side, I dare you to throw it on Chris's side. We had some, and then we had Arthur Davis in the middle. Arthur Davis was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. And then, like I said, Billy Thompson in the backfield, our running back. We had squad, and I'm going to say this without beating anyone up, without criticizing anyone. The main cog of an offense is going to be your quarterback, of course. And we just didn't have a quarterback suitable for the talent we had around him.
Yes.
I can run and beat a DB all day, but if you can't, if the ball's 20 yards behind me, if I'm out running the ball every time, what's it?
Right.
Yeah, so we just didn't have a quarterback, and it wasn't his fault because he shouldn't have been thrust into that position because we were loaded.
Mm-hmm.
We were loaded. He should have been thrust in that position to be the guy to orchestrate all these phenomenal athletes he had around him. I mean, Aubrey Benson was a great receiver.
Paul Gray.
Yeah, Aubrey, Kevin Dix. We had some skill positions out of this world, but we just didn't have that main, the central fuse, the quarterback, to get it to us. And
wow.
It was kind of like, okay, here, throw it to me 2 yards, and I'll take it. 60,
some of the stuff that they be running now, just a quick out, just throwing it out. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was our main problem. If you ask me personally, that was going to be our main problem. Is that we have plenty of talent. There's no way that me, Chris, Aubrey, Dix, Billy Thompson. We have 5 dudes at skill positions that I would have put up against anybody in the state easily, but we just didn't have anybody get the ball to us.
Wow.
That ended up being the problem.
Wow.
And then the crazy part with Will, so he named those guys. He didn't mention Ben Sale.
Right.
Ben Sale next year. Ben Sale balled out.
Right.
Billy. Somebody been second. He might have been third.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, had Ben Sale who could ball and play defense. I mean, we had our skill positions stacked. I mean, they were stacked.
What was your record? What was your record senior year?
It was
6-4 maybe.
6-4, I think. Yeah, it was 6-4.
Something like that. We got beat in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the first year Mel went to the playoffs in 20 years.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
I've seen we hadn't been in 20 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 20 years, and yeah, we got beat by Trinity and those damn Gardner brothers.
Oh yeah.
Carwell and Donnie Gardner. And
here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part about that, man. We talk about this every time we get together. We talk about this damn game.
Okay.
Trinity, we had Trinity beat. The score was 7-6 at the end of the game. They blocked out extra point because the Gardner brothers just caved in the middle. They blocked out extra point. So, but they couldn't score against us, man. Defensively, we shut them all the way down.
What was worse about it, or more dramatic, I should say, is we were shutting them down. They were shutting us down. It was 0-0 for most of the game. They scored a touchdown, a hard-fought touchdown. They ended up getting a touchdown. They kicked off to us, and Chris Phelps ran that thing back 97 yards. Woo. So we're thinking, this is a game. This was a ball game. This was probably one of the better state games. I know you had state tournament games where it was 60-60 and 65. There was people scoring 80 touchdowns. But you talking about a defensive slugfest. We were battling that day. So they scored a touchdown. Chris ran it back 97 yards for a touchdown, and then Carwell Gardner blocked our extra point. They beat us by 1 point.
Wow.
Chris lost his shoe on that return.
Chris lost his shoe on that return. Ran it back 96 yards with one shoe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this a couple of questions real quick on Mel. So basically, when y'all was in high school, what was your record against Manual?
We beat my senior year. That was it.
Ooh.
That's it, brother.
Yeah.
Ooh. Jesus.
So
I didn't know that.
David, hey, that's what I would claim too.
I'm being scored.
No, but hold on. When you said that ain't been 20-something years to play, I mean, I can tell I had to be lean.
Yeah. We did our senior year. We played that many because was it our senior year or junior year that we didn't have a stadium?
Our sophomore year we have a stadium. We played our home game.
Okay.
Because they tore our stadium down.
Okay.
Yeah, and so our sophomore year we lost to Man 25-0. Even though the Davis shut down Preston, like I said, shut them down. The next year they beat us. I think it was 3-0.
Wow.
And we should have beaten that year. We beat the hell out of Man. And then defensively.
Physically, yeah.
And then our senior year we won by 3, I think. I think it was 7-10. 7-10, something like that.
We don't like to throw people underneath the bus. I'm about to find out who that quarterback was. I don't want y'all to say no names. I'm gonna find out, but I don't want no names. I don't want no names.
Good guy.
He was young.
Okay.
He was just young, and he wasn't prepared for the big leagues. Like I said, was he a sophomore? I can't remember. He was
a year behind us because our sophomore year. Now he was a good ball player.
Yeah.
He played safety. He played safety as a freshman.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And started a few games. So he was a good ball player.
Yeah.
He
just wasn't the quarter. He wasn't the quarterback that y'all needed, pretty much. So.
Yeah. Not for the talent we had. He just wasn't the quarterback that we needed at that moment. And what made it worse about it is we had those potential quarterbacks on our team ready to go. Like I said, my sophomore year, we had my brother Steve, if he'd have stayed on the team. We had Chris as well, Avis Hines, did a good job of sort of playing that, run and shoot type of thing. So we had the guys to play, but once again, we weren't allowed to play that position.
Right.
We had, if it had been now, if we're playing in this era now, we're winning a state championship. We're winning a state championship because as you know, like I said, my brother Steve is fast. He's quick. He can throw. He played quarterback his life. It wasn't like, hey, you know, give me a ball. I want to play quarterback. Dude's been playing quarterback all his life. He could run. 4-4. We're you know, like I said, we had the quarterbacks on the team to take us to the next level. They just weren't allowed to play back in the 80s. They weren't allowed to play that position.
Check this out. I just got text the quarterback's name, so.
What good son didn't text you that? I already know.
I said, big, okay. Thank you, Coach.
Like I said, he's a good dude. He's a good football player. He just wasn't the quarterback we needed at that moment.
Yeah.
He's a good football player, good dude. Like I said, this is no criticism towards him personally, and no criticism towards him being given the starting job. That goes to the coach. The coach should not have given that starting job. So this is all on the coach. He just wasn't ready at the time for the amount of talent that we had. You know, it's not that often you're going to assemble that much talent that you have a state championship right there at your grasp. You got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Quarterback is going to have the ball in his hands most of the game, so you want a really good athlete with the ball in his hands. Since you know he's going to have the ball in his hands every snap, why not have a guy who's blazing fast and can throw and can
Yeah.
So the coach that decision out.
So check this out. Senior, you know what I'm saying, 6-4, playoff loss. So college. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about college. The decision to go with where you guys went, that kind of stuff like that.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Coach.
Sure.
Yeah. You silly.
I was going to say though this. To Dave's point, yeah, first team All-State wide receiver, second team All-State defensive back. You had two honorable mention All-State players on your team. It hadn't happened in a long time, man. You know, so we had 6 guys that went to college on scholarships. You know, whether it's D1,
right,
Division I AA, D2, you had guys that went to school to play ball. My decision to go where I went, man, was solely based on what I didn't do in high school.
Okay.
This has always been my story with younger guys. You know, Mel had beautiful women, so you got the women there, you got your partners you hanging with, you doing all your things. But what I didn't do, I didn't get in those books like I should have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I had an offer from Purdue, but I couldn't even go take a visit to Purdue because of my GPA.
Wow.
You know, UK showed interest, Florida State showed some interest, Western Kentucky, Tennessee, but I couldn't go to those bigger schools because of my GPA. Purdue was so interested that they were going to send me to junior college in Kansas.
Wow.
But some things fell through, so I wound up going to Kentucky State for the first semester of college. Loved playing with the guys I played with. We had a horrible coach, so I wound up going to junior college in Mississippi. And then, of course, I came back after 2 years of playing ball. I think I probably wasn't going to play anymore. I came back and coached at Male for 2 football seasons.
Yeah.
And then got a call from a coach in West Virginia and finished up playing football in West Virginia at West Virginia State, which I'm glad I did. So I didn't have I was able to get a scholarship. I was able to play ball, do well, enjoyed it, but that was it.
Coach Wig, first of all, and I think we didn't even hit that, but first of all, tell them what position you played at Male anyway.
At Male, I played nose guard, defensive tackle, and defensive end. So my sophomore year, I played defensive end.
Okay.
And we had this one coach who was going to move to middle linebacker. The next year, Coach Welch. Coach Welch was an excellent defensive coach. But he didn't come back, so that following year, I played nose guard and tackle. So my junior senior, I played nose guard tackle.
Okay.
And yeah, enjoyed it, man. Loved it.
Good. Okay. So, David, how did you decide come up to your decision to go to college? Or where to go to college, I mean?
My senior year, the letters started coming in left and right, and I'd always been a big Louisville fan, basketball and football. Unfortunately, when I was coming out, their coaching was sort of, you can tell the guy wasn't going to be there very long.
Right.
He was on the brink. They were kind of average, and the coaching was unstable. So in the end, mine came down between, so letters started coming in, and our coach, he came down and got me out of class one day, and I get out of class. I'm thinking I did something. Back in the back, talking, hey, what's up, girl? I said, hey, coach comes to the door, like, coach come get me out of class? Like, oh man, what did I do now? So he brings me outside, and he's like, you're pretty hot property right now. I was like, what did I do? He was like, we got coaches calling left and right from all these colleges. He said, I want to congratulate you. I said, for what? He said, you're the first person in 20 years from Male to make first team All-State. I was like, all right, cool. All right. All right. So he's like, congratulations, you're first person in 20 years, and you're rated the number one person in the city and the number two person in the state, or 2 or 3 behind Mark Higgs and maybe Edgar Keir. Yeah, big Mark Higgs. So I was like, oh, cool. So my at the end, mine came down between Kentucky, Louisville, Purdue, and Vanderbilt, and I was this close to going to Purdue. They had Chris Dishman up there, another Louisville guy.
The sales.
Rod Woodson, had all those guys up there, and I just thought Kentucky had just come off a pretty good year, and got a new coach. And I'm thinking, I think we were pretty good. So, Mark Higgs and those guys are thinking about going, and Chris Chenault and Edgar Shearer. I'm like, we might have a squad there. So I ended up signing with UK. So I signed with UK, and probably one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. But to say it was an awful decision was a little understated. It was a terrible decision.
Okay.
Okay. That's how I knew.
He made the best of it, though. He made the best of it.
Yeah, he did. But okay. So let me ask you this: at UK, like as far as what accolades you get at UK? Because I know you have plenty.
My best accolade is just staying on the team and without getting kicked off. That's
Man, y'all crazy, man.
Nuts.
Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy.
I have a hard time. I shouldn't say I have a hard time with authority, because I don't. My dad was in the military, so I have a hard time with bad leadership, and I try to do it respectfully, but I'm not going to let anyone walk over me, coach or not. And I do it respectfully, but I hear these stories sometimes about some of the stuff that these college coaches do to these kids, and I'm like, why doesn't somebody cuss him out? I don't care if he's a coach or not, because and I'm not trying to put bad thoughts on people's heads, but I think a lot of times players forget that they have rights. You know what I mean? I think, you know, we have the aura of these college coaches as these domineering figures that you can't speak back to, and they're the masters of this plantation, and you have to listen to what they say. And I've never been that guy. You know, if I'm right about something, then we're going to discuss it. We're going to, like I said, we're going to discuss it respectfully, but we're going to discuss it. And so from the second I got to UK, I didn't. In Kentucky, I had to miss the Kentucky All-Star game because I had an injured shoulder. And then when I got to UK my freshman year, I knew something was wrong because they didn't invite me up for the summer. And they invited the rest of the freshmen in for the summer to, they sort of gave them a job, and they brought them on campus. You start working out early.
Okay.
And they didn't bring me in. I was like, okay, obviously something's wrong, but I'm going to let it slide. So my first couple of weeks, my first week, I couldn't practice because I'm still recovering from my shoulder. And you can tell at that point they had just dismissed me, like, okay, this dude's gonna be a bust, and he's done. And they started treating me like dirt. It's one of those things where they're trying to get you to quit. I don't know if you guys ever remember that movie One-on-One. You guys remember that movie One-on-One? I don't know if you guys remember that, but how the coach tried to really get that basketball player to quit. So that's what they're trying to do to me. They were trying to run me off, and I didn't understand it at first. I'm like, why are they coming down on me? What's all this deal? Like they're mad at how much I weighed. They're mad that I wasn't strong. I'm like, wow, you recruited me. You recruited me. You know what I look like. I didn't lift the weights in my life. I weighed 160 pounds. I was, 6 feet tall, 160 pounds. I'm like, I didn't go on a diet. This is what I look like. But you tell that was the excuse of them trying to run me off. And then it was about my hair. And it was like, so, and this is the thing. This is going to seem kind of weird and simple, but this is the thing that's kind of like the catalyst for the really bad years I had at Kentucky. My position coach, I'm playing receiver at the time, and my position coach comes up to me and he says, big man wants you to cut your hair. And I was like, okay. So a couple days later, comes with me again, big man wants you to cut your hair. I was like, okay. So every time he came up to me and said that, I was like, okay. So about a week later, he comes up and he's like, you still haven't cut your hair. Big man wants you to cut your hair. And I was like, all right, well, something as definitive as someone telling me to cut my hair, I'm gonna need to hear that from the horse's mouth.
From the big man.
I'm the big man. The big man wants me to cut my hair. The big man's gonna have to tell me face to face. We're gonna have to discuss this. So he calls me to his office. I'm 17 years old. He calls me to his office and he's like, I've told you to cut your hair several times and you haven't cut your hair. And I was like, no, actually, you didn't tell me to cut my hair. Coach Biadella told me to cut my hair. So, what's up? He's like, I need you to cut your hair. I said, why? It's a little bit long, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not cutting it. You recruited me. You knew what I looked like. It's not on my parents. You recruited me. I'm not cutting my hair. This is what I look like. And you guys can find this weird. And in a minute, if we have time, I'll go out and get the picture of what I looked like my freshman year. You guys, it's gonna blow your mind how somebody could tell me to cut my hair. It's gonna blow your mind. So I told him. I pointed out a couple dudes on the team, a couple white guys with longer hair, and I was like, those guys have long hair. Those guys are significantly longer than mine. I'm just not gonna cut my hair. He's like, all right, then I want you to pick the team. I was like, no, it's not gonna be that easy. I'm gonna need you to kick me off. He's like, no, you're defying a direct order, so you're forfeiting your scholarship. I'm gonna need you to pick a team. I was like, no. I'm gonna need you to kick me off because I want you to have to answer to the media why you kicked off one of your star recruits. So why'd you kick off one of your star recruits? He wouldn't cut his hair. So it wasn't like you got busted with drugs. It wasn't like you got fight. It wasn't like you kicked him off for what? So I knew that was going to have to be the conversation he was going to have. And so, we went back and forth. He's like, I need you to quit. I was like, I need you to kick me off. Kick me off, release me from my scholarship. And,
Right.
he's like, no. So we went back and forth with that for a while. And then at the end, he's like, all right, well, we'll decide what to do. And that was it. From that point on, and I don't say this jokingly, from that point on, we never spoke a word to each other again. My whole time there.
Wow.
Besides every now and then on the field telling me, hey, you need to get right. We never spoke. I don't care if we crossed each other in the hallway. That dude hated me with passion because I was a 17-year-old kid telling him I was going to cut my hair. And once again, I wasn't, getting in trouble for fighting, for drugs, for drinking, for nothing. Simply for my hair. And, I spoke with my dad, and my dad said, what do you think you should do? I said, hey, the dude recruited me and knew what I looked like. Then my dad said, stick to your guns then. Stick to your guns. You knew what you looked like. He said, it's not like you're doing anything bad. You're not doing anything criminal. You're not doing anything like that. This is hair. It's hair. So if you don't want to cut it, don't cut it, and live with your decision. Like, cool. So he never spoke to me again, and I just went out there and balled, and I'm gonna play ball, and you can do whatever you want, but you want me off this team, keep me off the team.
Wow. Yeah. That. Woo.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, man, because you think about, kids, young guys are still going through that kind of stuff today.
Yep.
Whether it's high school or college. Some of the thing happened. A similar story happened to me in Mississippi. And long story short, we all wore our ears pierced. That was the thing we did. We all had pierced ears, 1 or 2 pierced ears. So I got my ear pierced, both my ears pierced. And me and the head coach made a pact that, hey, you can wear your earrings after 6 p.m. on campus, or on the weekends off campus, or anywhere. You're good. That was me, and I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. So I'm in Mississippi.
Right.
That's a whole other story. I'm in Mississippi.
Right.
So one day we go to a high school game, me and Phelps, because Chris came to Mississippi with me. With some other guys, we go to a high school game, and one of the assistant coaches is at this high school basketball game. I got my earrings on. We walk in the gym, and the coach says, what you doing with those earrings on? I say, coach said I can wear them off campus. Well, I need you to take those off. I'm gonna say, who are you talking to? I'm taking these earrings off, man. I'm not on campus. I'm at a high school basketball game. He says, boy, who owns you?
Oh.
He said, oh. I said, what did you say? He said, boy, who owns you? I said, don't own me, motherfucker. No, don't own me, dude. I will whoop your ass if you're in the show that for your boys. I'm gonna knock you out, dude. You don't talk to me like that. I don't care who you are. It's those attitudes.
Yes.
Especially when you're confronted with somebody you don't really know. They didn't know us, man. They knew us as ball players.
Right.
Davis, because he was a ball, he didn't know him as David, man. Here's a guy that don't drink, don't smoke, don't do anything. He'll go out and do what he needs to do. You trip on him because of his hair? Are you serious?
That's nuts.
Wow.
That's crazy, man. It's a little. Some of they don't have to deal with it as much as we did with them. Man, talking about the 80s, dude, it was crazy. You know how it was in Maryville?
I know. Hey, real quick, before we hit the professional career with you, David, I had somebody who just commented for you, Coach. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick. You know this cat very well, so right here. Let's see. Bump said, "Tell Coach Wigg he didn't want no parts of them Shively Cardinals."
Man, we beat the brakes off the Shively Cardinals. Hey, Little League. We was 13-0. We scored on one time, and the Charlotte Cardinals wouldn't even. They didn't even think about them. We played then. Like, that's another team in Shively.
Alright, had to break it up. So, David, let's get back to you. Now, you're going through all this stuff with your coach and everything else, and still balling. How did let's talk about this draft, man. Let's talk about you getting drafted in NFL.
All right. So my senior year rolled around, and the agents started calling, and there was always pro coaches coming to practice, and checking out me and Mark Higgs and Christian All and Ivy Joe Hunter, and so a lot of coaches were there all the time, and they would talk to us and send us letters and all this kind of stuff. So so once again, I never got any praise from my own coach or coaches, but I always got praise from all the other SEC coaches around the league. Like after every game, one of the coaches would come up to me and say, "Hey man, you guys are playing on a pretty crappy team, but you got a bright future. Wish we had you." That kind of makes you feel good, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, other SEC coaches, I'm like, because like I said, I'm not hearing it in my own program. So you don't know how well you're doing or not doing because you never get the praise within your own program. So a lot of other coaches started coming up to me, and so then the letters started coming in from the NFL as well. Fill out this questionnaire for this team, this survey, and all this kind of stuff. So so this young guy, so a bunch of agents start coming and visiting, and this young guy stumbles into my room one time, and he was about 20 years old, and he's an agent, or he's like, he's an assistant agent. I'm like, what's this young dude? What's this young guy in my room? Who are you, man? I'm thinking that he's just here to introduce himself because a real agent's about to come, and that agent ended up being Drew Rosenhaus, where everybody knows, big Drew Rosenhaus is like the big. So I was one of his very, very first clients. Me and a guy named Robert Massey. He was a young kid, and people were like, "You're a fool to go with a young guy. That guy's only 20 years old. You're a fool." But you knew back then, like, there's something about Drew. I don't know what it is, but this dude
That's crazy.
knows his stuff. So I was one of Drew Rosenhaus's very first clients, and but I tell you what was cool. Drew, since he was so young and didn't look like an agent and didn't look like a coach or anything, he came into the locker room one time, and so he's waiting for me to get done practicing and everything. And I come out afterwards, and he's got this horrified look on his face. He's like, "Don't ever trust anyone in that building." I was like, "Wow. Well, what was happening?" He said, "Man, they badmouthed the hell out of you." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, I was in there sort of just like, they didn't know I was an agent, so I was kind of talking like, "Hey, how's you guys as a senior class doing? You guys got any pro prospects?"
Wow.
And I was like, a couple maybe. And I was like, so I hear this guy David Johnson's pretty good. And the coach is like, "Nah, he's a head case. He'll never amount to anything." He's like, "Really?"
Oh my God.
Dude, heard dude's a hell of an athlete. Heard he's a baller, and he's like, "Nah, he's not serious about football. He's just busy." And I quote, "He's just busy trying to look like a girl. He ain't serious about playing ball." Because I had earrings, like Wig said, we had earrings. So he came out. He's like, "That's what they just said about you." He said, so I'm getting it directly from Drew.
Wow.
I heard somebody. He's like, "I heard it directly." He said, "They're badmouthing the hell out of you in there." I was like, good to know. So, and they wouldn't let me train there. Like when the season's over, you're training for combines. They wouldn't even let me come back and train for combines. The coach was like, "I think it'd be better if you go out and find somewhere else to train." I mean, this is 1988. It wasn't like there were training facilities on every corner like there are now.
Right.
14 facilities everywhere now. But I come out from the University of Kentucky. It's not like we're in Florida either, where there's other people to train. So they wouldn't let me train at the school. So I'm basically just going to like a like a Gold's Gym or World's Gym, not knowing what I'm doing really, just lifting, not really training athletically like they train now. I'm trained for speed. I got a speed coach. I got this coach. I got that coach. So I'm literally out there on my own. So you won't let me come to the facilities. I get invited to the combines. I go to the combines, and pretty good for not having trained. And then when draft night rolled around, the first night of the draft, that's back when we had 12 rounds. The first night of the draft went by, and I didn't get drafted, and I'm so mad. It's behind competition. I got steam coming out here. So much so that the next day the draft came on, and I didn't really give a damn. I was like, I don't care now. So my phone finally rang, and it was like, hey, this is so-and-so from the Pittsburgh Steelers. If so-and-so doesn't take you before us, we're going to draft you here in a minute. And I'm sitting there at the phone. I'm mad as hell. Like I appreciate you guys drafting me, but I can't believe I'm getting drafted in the 7th round of the NFL draft. I'm a second round talent at worst.
Right.
I'm sitting there. I'm just mad. I'm like, okay. So I see a bunch of the guys getting drafted ahead of me, guys that I saw at the combines. I'm like, or when we played an All-Star game, the Blue-Gray All-Star game. Like,
right.
This dude's getting drafted. Okay. Oh, okay. If he's getting drafted in the second round, I gotta get you next. My phone's gonna ring any minute. Let me check. Hey, I'm calling AT&T. Hey, is my phone line working? My phone's not ringing. Something's wrong here. My phone's not ringing. The second round's gone by. We're in the third round's gone by. You sure? Let me check my phone line again.
Wow.
So a couple minutes later, they're like, please hold the line. I'm holding. About 5 or 6 minutes go by. The other team makes their draft. And then they're like, the lady gets back on the phone. She's like, well, David, you are now a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I was like, hooray. No, I mean, I was excited to be a Steeler. Growing up in Germany, we didn't have much American TV over there, so we only got one game a week, and we got the Super Bowl at the end of the year. So back then, it was the Steelers and the Dolphins winning all the Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. So I was a big Steeler fan, pretty much all we knew. So I was ecstatic getting drafted by the Steelers because Jermani Dawson, who also played at Kentucky, and just got drafted the year before me. So I was happy to know people there. I was a big Rod Woodson fan, and so I'm happy to be a Steeler. I'm so mad that in the 7th round that sort of like took the steam out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
To jump up and celebrate, but I was kind of like, okay, cool. Just let me know when to show up, and okay, cool. So I got to Pittsburgh, but when I got to Pittsburgh, it was cool because then I was doing real coaches who didn't really give a damn what you look like. Can you ball or can't you? Right. Can you ball? Are you listening to directions? And are you staying out of trouble? Other than that, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you do off the field. It has nothing to do with me. You're a grown man. Come to work, ready to play, ready to practice. Know your playbook, and stay out of trouble, and we're good. So that was like a whole new life for me. That was a whole new, you have some old school guy like Chuck Noll coming up to you, actually speaking to you. Yeah, Chuck Noll talking to you and being nice, and I was like, wow, this dude actually likes me, okay. I mean, I walk in, we go up for rookie orientation, and they're walking us through the stadium, and one of the first dudes we meet, man, Mean Joe Green. Mean Joe Green comes out of his office, bigger than life. We all know him from the commercials, and all the rookies are just standing there and all like, that's Mean Joe Green. That's Mean Joe Green, man. Just like, think about that. Think about meeting Mean Joe Green. It was unbelievable. So the world sort of just turned at that moment. It was like a different a different life. The coaches respected me. The coaches were cool with me. They didn't care what I looked like, and I finally got some real coaching. So that was a different world for me. I love Pittsburgh.
Hey, real quick, the thing about it is, because I know you play the Falcons and all this, but I'm not even going to mention that because I got a couple more questions before we wrap it up. And the only reason I want to leave it on to Pittsburgh because my co-host is a diehard Steelers fan. He's a diehard Steelers fan, so he's not a Male Bulldog fan. He's PRP, but he's definitely a diehard Steelers fan. And just you telling him what you just said made his year big time.
Hey, Mark, you used to have a ball on the watch day playing Pittsburgh too. You used to have a ball, baby.
I bet you did.
Wow, crazy.
So let me.
But
go
I
ahead.
almost.
Go ahead, Dave.
What's funny is I almost thought I didn't make the Steelers because one of my rookie year during training camp, my roommate, someone else got cut during training camp. So my roommate, who went to Georgia, went to go room with another guy from Georgia. The other guy's roommate had gotten cut. So my roommate was like, "Hey man, no offense, do you mind if I stay with my?" I said, "No, cool. I'll have my own room. I'm cool. And he's like, "I'm gonna go stay with my teammate from college." Yeah, cool. So one morning, the coach comes knocking on my door. So when they knock on your door at 6 a.m, it just means you get cut.
Right.
There is no if, ands, or buts. The Reaper's coming. So I hear the knock on my door. I'm thinking, oh man, you kidding me? I thought I was out there balling, man. Oh man, I just so you put your head under a pillow, act like you don't hear it, kind of. Knocks again. So finally, I drag myself over to the door. I'm looking like a sad sack. I opened the door, and dude was like, "Hey DJ, where's your roommate?" It's like, I don't have a roommate. He's like, "Yeah, aren't you rooming with so and so?" I was like, "Oh no, I was, but he moved in with his college teammate last week." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I was like, "I'm not getting cut?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Whoo!" But it was cool because he looked at me. He's like, "You worried about getting cut?" He's like, "Oh no, you're a sure thing." He said, "You've been balling. You're a sure thing." All right, so that made me feel good. And he's like, "So yeah, he said, get that out of your mind. Now just worry about your playbook. Don't worry about making the team now. Just worry about playing ball now." And that's a good kick in the pants.
Yeah.
Right there. I was like, whoa. All right. So then after that, I kind of felt relaxed and comfortable, and I just went out there and started balling. And then one day, Rod Woodson came up to me during training camp. He came to me during training camp, and he said, "I was watching you practice, man." He said, "You got some good feet, man." He said, "You got some really good feet." He said, "You stay in your playbook, man. You can have a career in this league." So hearing that from Rod Woodson, it was like, woo. Yeah, that's
right.
That'll get you going, man. That'll get you going. So yeah, so I had really good experiences early on in Pittsburgh, and it was just a great place to be.
That's good stuff. Let me ask you guys this. I mean, being that you guys was like, when I was saying this to hear the story, especially as far as the male thing, resurgent of male. How does it feel how you see the program now? The growth, the continue with athletes. You know what I'm saying? I know Coach been around at Wig. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it too. So how you guys feel? I mean, just to see how it's really taken off. I mean, it's been like that, but like you said, it's been sometimes you didn't have the coaches or the certain players. We know that, but to see that. Go ahead, Coach. No,
man, it's really good to see. But what's even better is being able to educate folks on where we came from, because Male has been a powerhouse these last 30-some years.
Right.
Willie, because your dad played back in the 60s. When Mel was tough.
Right.
And then it died off, and then it picked it back up. So Mel always been a powerhouse, but a lot of people don't understand that, the history, the legacy. So now I really feel like our era made a legacy for the traditional male team.
Right.
You know, and it's funny when I hear guys talk about, hey, I used to come to male games and watch y'all play. And I remember when y'all did this, and y'all was this, and y'all did that. And then other guys say, well, I came to male because I watched you play. I watched David play, watched Chris play, I watched you play, Art, Bill, been said. You know, to hear that, man, makes me feel good about the kind of legacy and impact we had on male high football. Really athletic.
Right.
And to see what it's doing now, man, it's a great thing. What I really want to leave with folks is that we need to, us former athletes of male, we need to come back, man, and support the program, support some of these kids, educate them on some of the things, like, you know, some of the experiences David's had.
Right.
We got kids now that's coming out. I think I had Nate Hobbs on
Yes.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, Nate playing in the NFL with the Raiders. But, I mean, we've got guys who've had some experiences. These kids to learn from, man.
Right.
You know, but I'm excited, and I'm happy about the legacy we left. One of our dear friends, Chris Phelps, David mentioned him earlier. You know, Chris was killed in Iraq in 2005. Man, he's one of the reasons Mel is where it's at, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much legacy, so much history that can be taught to the younger guys, man. But I mean, they're doing an outstanding job. They're a good coach, good athletes. You had to see little Vinny going somewhere.
That's right. He was on the show. Yeah.
Dude, he's a beast, man.
He is.
He's a bad boy, man. But yeah, man, it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, it definitely goes. I tune in. I keep up with them. It still makes me mad that they have a hard time getting over that Trinity hump sometimes. That's still just like, you know, I wanna, you know, I wish the coach would invite me in one time to talk to his team. You know, because the different speeches we got from Kentucky, from different speeches we got to at Pittsburgh. We're at Pittsburgh. We were expected to win. You know what I mean? You step on the field, you might get beat by 60, but you go out on the field expecting to win every game, which is what we didn't do at Kentucky. So I just, you know, I'm really proud of the legacy there at Male now, and you know they're in the state championship every year. But I want them to step on that field knowing Trinity can't beat me.
Right.
Trinity can't beat me. And they get, you know, they get in the mindset. I don't care what you have to do. You know, cuss, fight, and bleed.
Right.
There, because you know, whatever I did off the court, I'm really mellow off the court and off the field. I should say I'm really mellow and chilled. And I see Eric Bibbs coming out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have long hair and look like Prince. Yes. But you know, so yes, I was a big Prince fan. I look like Prince. I had long hair. But when I stepped on the field between those lines, like, yeah, man, I'm tearing someone's head off. I'm tearing someone's head off. So I just wish people would get more in that mindset of this dude across from me cannot beat me.
Right.
Cannot beat. We're gonna go toe to toe for 60 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever a high school game is. But at the end of this game, this dude is gonna know I whooped his ass.
Right.
Yes. And that's, you know, so I hope they get that mindset. I'm really proud of that tradition, but I want them to be kicking Trinity in the ass every game instead of it being the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
So check this out. And I'm glad you guys, first of all, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, and I know you guys are busy, but we are doing a documentary on Male this season. So we at every game. We'll be at every game, video and you know all this kind of stuff like that, interviews, and also it ain't about just this year. We're actually tying in the history of Male. So we're going to actually talk to some, you know, some alumni, you know what I'm saying, and you guys I'm definitely gonna reach out to you guys and to be in a documentary to talk about the lean years and traditional, you know what I'm saying, just that whole aspect of what you did right there. But yeah, we decided we're gonna put one for the H. So we're gonna have a documentary, and we're working on it as we speak now. And you definitely be hearing from us, so we can just talk about the legacy.
Yeah, most definitely.
Sounds good to me. That works for me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what, because I was blessed to have Coach Wig around. You know what I'm saying, and talk, and besides not calling calls as an official, but also being on all this kind of stuff. You know I gotta dig at you, coach. But also, man, what you guys just did and said on the show, man. If you can't be it ain't even about being a bulldog right now. If you're a player, just to hearing these stories and stuff like that. And then as a bulldog, I'm sitting there in class 9th, I'm ready to go play right now. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. And I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Coach, getting back to the school, going back to the games, doing whatever, support and all that. And I love David saying, hey, I wish Coach would reach out to me. I would like to see that stuff, man, because, I'm being on the horn talking to Coach Kelsey, the AD, because the boys need that.
Yes, they do.
They need that. And that was great. That was great, man. I really appreciate you guys.
I enjoyed it.
I really appreciate you guys, man.
Thank y'all.
Hey, one thing before we get out here, I have to say this, man. I'll be remiss. You got to get David in the Male Highs Hall of Fame, and he has to be. Got to be in the Kentucky High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
Wait a minute. What? Go back to the first thing you said.
He has to be in the Louisville Male High School Hall of Fame. He's not in there.
He's not in there?
No, he's gonna be in there though. Yeah, if Coach didn't hit, he was gonna get him in there this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna get him in there, but we gotta get him in the Kentucky High School Athletic Hall of Fame too.
Oh, without a doubt.
There's some good folks in there, but he needs to be one of those good folks.
Right.
Boy, man, that's a partner, man.
I know. I already know. But hey, we're definitely gonna get with you guys, man. We definitely gonna get you. Thank you guys for being on the show, man. God bless y'all,
man. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Yeah, we talking to you.
Market wheel. Yeah. What you know about them bulldogs and them panthers? Legacy. That's right. Legacy. That's right. Legacy. That's right. Legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Male and PRP's in on this legacy. Let's go. What you know about this legacy? Wednesday night tuned in to this legacy. Mark and Will locked in on this legacy. Get your popcorn, I know you need this medicine. Let's go.